Hello Wastelanders, we are here on the roof of the Nuka-Cola bottling plant as ever in pursuit of immersive mods to help fuel your next playthrough. I'm here in Enclave form because the mod I'm about to show you brings this bad boy into the game for you. A classic Fallout 3 style Enclave Vertibird for your very own. Trust me, you're gonna want one. What we're looking at today is Enclave Classic Vertibird by PJMail, the same mod author who brought you the Flyable Personal Vertibird mod back in 2020. But if you think you already know the story about Flyable Personal Vertibird, it just got an update that dropped on the 7th of 2024 that added a lot of new capabilities. They include being able to stay on board while it flies to DLC locations or while orbiting an area on patrol. They include being able to land in places like Diamond City or recruit an NPC as your pilot, craftable and portable Vertibird landing markers. I don't even have time to tell you about all the new stuff because there's too much to say about what Flyable Personal Vertibirds was bringing in its original package. Functionality, versatility, and customizability like no one had seen before it came out. This was a mod ahead of its time. America Rising 2 blew me away when it added so much Vertibird fast travel functionality into the game that wasn't based on affiliation with Brotherhood of Steel. But Flyable Personal Vertibirds gave you that and so much more long before. And in a move that seems prophetic, it added this classic Fallout 3 Enclave Vertibird skin to the game as though in anticipation of all of us America Rising 2 fans who would be looking for mods like this one to help complement our faction-based playthroughs, especially in DLC locations like Nuka World where you couldn't bring an America Rising 2 Vertibird. But we'll come back to Nuka World later because right now I want to show you how you can use your new personal Vertibird everywhere. We're here in Bridgeport, and as you can see behind me, this mod doesn't just give you a cool new Vertibird, it gives you the ability to craft landing pads at your settlements, and that creates the possibility of having settlements themed around air travel and Vertibird landing pads. I really like this feature. It changed some of my builds. But not everything about having a personal flyable Vertibird has to be revolutionary, because you can use these Vertibirds like any other Vertibird fast travel through the Brotherhood of Steel or America Rising 2. You just jump on board, being careful not to get distracted by the really cool and detailed interior of these Vertibirds, and then you can just use your map to jump from one map marker to another like every other Vertibird ride you've ever taken. Something about my recording frame rate doesn't do these propellers justice. This makes it look like they stutter and they're glitchy and slow. They aren't, not in game. And I spent a lot of time looking at that amazing retro-styled engine out my window. And we could spend a lot of time looking at all the many settings available to you if you want to take this beyond the usual Vertibird transport experience. For example, those of you who are into ultra realism, you can have this use fusion cores as gas. You can have it consume ammunition in both of its front guns and its side guns. You can have it equip custom door guns. If you're a fan of immersive consequences in video games, how's this for immersive? If the Vertibird gets destroyed, you have to go recover it at its crash site and then craft repair parts for it to get it flying again. Not everybody's going to choose those realism options. You can play this on easy mode, but if you're into that kind of thing, it's just the tip of the immersion iceberg with this mod. Let's check out something everybody will be into: better door-mounted miniguns. We've chosen high accuracy miniguns with a ×2 recon scope. Let me show you the difference. This shot would have been dreaming with a vanilla Vertibird minigun. And that is just the start of the fun stuff. If you've ever wanted to sit in one of the other seats in a Vertibird, guess what? You got your chance now. You can craft these rings, put on whichever ring you want to sit in that seating position for, and that's where you'll be the next time you jump on board. Here are some other options. You can load cargo onto this thing. You can have it fly somewhere, unload the cargo, and come back to you. You can have it follow you. You can have it patrol a position over you. You can have all your companions board it. You can change where its home settlement is. You can change its paint job, though that one only applies to the Fallout 4 style Vertibirds, and in regards to those, there are so many options. You can name the Vertibird. You can build multiple Vertibirds. You can have them all follow you around. And one of my favorite options that just makes sense is being able to load power armor onto your Vertibird. Here's how that works. Bring your power armor nearby, open up the menu, load it on board. It's that easy, and it feels like it should have been a thing in the vanilla game. Ready to have some more fun? Here are two great options I love. We can change the guns on our Vertibird for when we want it to give us air support. It can be machine guns, lasers, plasma guns, and missile launchers. They're all cool. I'm going to pick plasma guns here because it seems like an Enclave thing. And the next option I want you to check out is that you can have this follow you. And in this mode, it's basically just an airborne companion that hovers around you and looks for enemies. It's fantastic air support. And to show you this in action, I'm going to go pick a fight. We're at East City Downs, where there are some robots and some raiders. We've brought our personal vertibird air support along. Let's just see what happens.
What is it now?
So as you can see, that's what the plasma guns look like. If you want to see what missiles look like, check this out. So cool. The January 7th pre-release hotfix allows you to recruit NPCs as your pilot and have fun with that. Go crazy with it. But if you just want to put some custom equipment on the pilot that is supplied with the Vertibird, you can do that too, along with being able to choose from gender and appearance options. Brotherhood of Steel fans can even pick pilots that have Brotherhood of Steel affiliation and Brotherhood of Steel dialogue. But you might want to sit down for this next part because it is a doozy. Are you ready? You can fly this Vertibird with the direction pads yourself. How is this possible, you ask? Here's how. As you're flying along, you can just push the weapons ready button and the Vertibird will stop. It will hover in place, and then you can use the direction pad to spin its tail around and point its nose in any direction you want. It took me a minute to figure it out, but as long as you leave this thing pointed in a certain direction for a second, it will just start heading that way. It'll move itself forward in the direction that you have chosen. See these little markers? They tell me where it is pointed now. And it will follow these markers until I give it a new input. This opens up so many possibilities for anybody who doesn't have all the fast travel markers unlocked or who is in survival mode and needs to be able to get to custom locations without having to run across the entirety of the Commonwealth. And in case you're wondering, yes, you can fly this from the pilot seat, and in a Fallout 4 style Vertibird that's fun, but in this one, well, you can't see outside of it so great. These computer monitors were probably designed to have the cameras on the nose showing you what's outside the Vertibird. Visibility's terrible. Even this pilot's looking off to the side to fly it. And there are some other issues with the Fallout 3 style Vertibird. It looks amazing, but it never does put its landing gear up, and it doesn't have a second door gunner like the Fallout 4 style Vertibirds do. And if you want custom paint options, well, you're only going to get those on the Fallout 4 style Vertibirds, but you won't be hurting for options there. And something I wasn't able to test is whether this Fallout 3 style Vertibird without the docking attachment on its back can dock with airships or not like the Fallout 4 ones, because I blew up the Prid one and I didn't really have a way to test that. But I can show you how well these work in the DLCs. You may remember from our video about bringing the Enclave to FarHarbor that we had to use the Institute as kind of a proxy and piggyback in here on one of their quests. That is not the case anymore, as I am about to demonstrate. You don't have to have a vertipad built for your personal vertibird to land on, but I built one here at the Echo Lake Lumber Mill next to these very appropriately aeronautically themed billboards so that we can test and see whether our new personal vertibird will show up in a DLC like FarHarbor for us. Well, it didn't take long to answer that question. And I discovered how much I love being able to build these vertipads in locations that seemed a little stale to me. Now they have an entirely new reason for me to build them up, a whole new theme for a settlement to have. And that goes for any faction roleplay you're doing, not just the Enclave, of course, or the Brotherhood of Steel. Mod authors have given Flyable Personal Vertibirds many paint options to choose from, full customizability, by which I mean you could be like this guy on Nexus Mods and cover your Vertibird in Pinup Girls. And all the different faction paint jobs are out there, so roleplay away to your heart's content. And no, you don't have to have a settlement that is huge and has vertipad size real estate just to land one of these, because look what I got to happen at my Egret Tours Marina settlement. This is a 2x2 block. I don't know how the pilot was able to successfully set it down there, but I know how I got them to do it. I just built one of these landing markers that you can construct at the workbench at your settlement, and I placed it on this block, and the pilot set it down in the one spot it would fit. I was really pretty impressed. To show you what I mean, I would have liked to use this space here for one of these vertipads, but I can't remove those objects. The mod author has those as like kind of permanent things the workbench can't take away. So I still want to use this real estate for my vertibird. I put down one of these landing markers, and then if I summon the vertibird to land, it tries to park itself right on top of those markers, and it really does a pretty good job. After all that success, you can see why I had such high hopes for Nuka World. I installed a mod that put helicopter landing pads on top of the Fizztop grill and made the one on top of the Nuka-Cola bottling plant functional. I was getting so Vertipad crazy I put one in at the Red Rocket here in Nuka World as well because I planned on having a lot of fun with air superiority here in the park. But there was one problem no matter what I did, I just couldn't get rid of. And unsurprisingly, it's Bethesda's fault. You see, when they designed Nuka World, they had no plans of ever bringing vertibirds in here, so they didn't bother to put any altitude coding. Vertibirds can't tell how tall any of the structures in Nuka World are. So just when you're really enjoying yourself, something like this happens. You fly right through a building. Now there are options out there brought to us by modders, of course, not Bethesda, that are supposed to be able to fix this, and I did try them. I downloaded Nuka World Vertibird Altitude Fix by Niston. That was supposed to fix the problem, but it didn't seem to change anything for me, and I'm not sure why, so I uninstalled that and I tried the Previsibines repair pack, known as PRP. That was supposed to add the building heights into Nuka World 2, and yet somehow that didn't do the job either. I don't know why they didn't work for me. Maybe those kinds of things would work for you and help this remain an immersive mod for your playthroughs too, but here it was hard for me to use, which was very disappointing because I had some big plans. You see, as soon as I found out about this mod, I had this idea of using the Vertibird air support to just rain down fire and brimstone on all those ghouls in Kitty Kingdom. I wanted to watch a Vertibird just punish them from the skies, and at first, things seemed promising, and then Bethesda's laziness struck again. It is kind of funny, but it's not very immersive, and immersive is what I was hoping for. Oh, good lord. This is a travesty. To the modders who tried to fix this, I'm sorry I did such a poor job of showcasing your work, but if anybody should be apologizing, it's Bethesda. So let's move on to something that I know all of you America Rising 2 fans are going to be curious about. Can we summon this personal flyable vertibird to the oil rig in America Rising 2, which wasn't even a thing when this mod was built? Well, guess what? The answer is yes. This vertibird will show up at the oil rig. And as it flew around the oil rig looking for somewhere to land, it occurred to me that these vertibirds look for vertipads whenever they can find them, and there aren't any vertipads on this oil rig despite how many vertibirds are always parked here. So, where did it find to land? After a bit of looking, I figured it out. There is a vertipad here at the oil rig. It's down on the USS Harper underneath. After completing the USS Harper quest, I had never tried to get back down to that thing, so I wasn't even sure it was possible, and I was feeling a little discouraged, but I didn't give up, because I know you America Rising 2 fans are depending on me to figure out how to make this awesome Fallout 3 Enclave-style vertibird a viable option when you're heading to and from the oil rig, so I figured it out. Down in the factory, I had the Enclave engineers fit this Exo 2 suit with a jetpack, because I think this is the only way on and off the USS Harper. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm trying to bring you answers. This is what I've got. I've got my luck stat maxed to 10, and I think I might need it, because this is a bit of a leap even from up here. That was close. But we made it. Here we are at our Enclave Vertibird. It's waiting for us, and I suppose if we want to summon it to the oil rig, all we have to do is use jet-packed power armor to get to and from the USS Harper. What could be more Enclave than solving a problem with power armor? Although I do wish that the authors of America Rising 2 had put maybe one other vertipad, or maybe just a gangplank to get onto the USS Harper. You know where Otolino did put a vertipad? Here at the US Army Depot. So I'm hoping that when we summon the vertibird here, it will just use that vertipad. That would be so splendid. Beautiful. Thank you, Otolino. And if any modders are watching, I do have one humble request. Of all the many paint schemes you could put on the Fallout 4 style vertibirds in the Flyable Personal Vertibird mod, I didn't see any of the America Rising 2 Enclave paint scheme out there from anybody. So if someone would make one of those, I know the America Rising 2 fans would really appreciate it. Okay, and you know there's one last location to check, America Rising 2 people. It's the North Boston PD, where there is a vertipad on the roof. Let's see if our Flyable Personal Vertibird will use it. I'm sensing a problem here. Oh no, what have we done? What have we done? How are we going to explain this to Chief Engineer Myers? If Captain Peterson were here, he'd be saying, Myers could fix that. But you know, it's not so bad. In the light of day, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking Myers should be happy. I think what we've done is we have created the ultimate Enclave Vertibird. Look at this thing. It's like a giant Enclave drone. I'm proud. I'm proud of my work here. I think my work here is done. And that about wraps it up for the video. So if you've been enjoying it, please leave a like. If you'd like to see more of my wonderful work, why don't you support the channel by subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss any of the future videos we'll have coming out. Speaking of which, I better get back to making them for you. Later, Raiders. We'll see you in the next one.